because the real reason why we are back here are these 4 trumpets, because they are from the house of Akrapovic. You heard the bangs. Why would you want to make your car sound like it's misfiring? Not only is this the 3rd VW in a row, it's also the 3rd SUV or crossover. Now, before you move on to another channel, bear with me for a second, because we are moving in the right direction. Because we started out with the electric ID4, then we moved to the hybrid Touareg R, and now we have arrived at the full testosterone spec Tiguan R. Towards the end of last year, VW launched the new Golf R, and with it, its new R sub-brand. Part of the R sub-brand is the Tiguan, and with the entry into the new family, it got a new face. It is still the Mark II, but there are changes inside and out. Just like the downstairs neighbor, the Tiguan R gets the new 4th generation EA888 engine, which makes 320 horsepower and 420 Nm of torque. That is quite some oomph. In order to make sure that it doesn't evaporate on its way to the wheels, or the wheels themselves, it gets taken care of by the same 4-motion 4-wheel drive system as the Golfs, which for the first time is capable of torque vectoring between the rear wheels. Inside we are greeted by a horned steering wheel, just as in the Touareg R, which feels nice. Speaking of the big brother, there is nowhere near as much leather as in the Touareg R, but it is a nice, clean interior. The seats are comfortable, they are nicely bolstered, and they are heated, but not ventilated. And even though this might be a last generation interior, it has been improved with a few touch-sensitive panels alongside the bigger touchscreen. Even in the second row there is enough space. I can comfortably sit behind myself. Good to know then that I could travel in comfort with 3 other doubts. But the capaciousness doesn't end there. This is new, sensible driving distilled, at least where applicable. So let's talk about boot space. More than 500 liters are available. We have a flat floor, there's more space under it, and if you choose to push the second row of seats forwards, you get up to 600 liters, which is serious volume. Okay, actually that's all rubbish, because the real reason why we are back here are these 4 trumpets, because they are from the house of Akrapovic. Let's talk about the exhaust system for a moment. I am not a big fan, and that's not just because of the price, which at 3,800 Swiss francs is not exactly a bargain. But my problem with it is much more profound. Is the noise coming out of the tailpipes really that much better? If so, how would you know when there is so much noise coming through the speakers? Of course, the Tiguan R also has driving mode. By default, it starts up in Sport mode, which is all the mode you will ever need. All the inputs are reasonably weighted, you can make swift progress, the suspension is not overly harsh, everything fine. If you're feeling your trousers are about to ignite, the best way to make the experience sportier is by ignoring race mode, because too aggressive, too loud, and start shifting gears yourself, which is an even more satisfying experience than ever because of the new pedal shifters. Because you know when you are going to accelerate out of the corner, so you get your gear ready and thus turbo spooled up, and that means you can get the shove you expect out of the engine. And yes, because the pedals are more satisfying to use, you can make your experience that much more fun. With its 4-wheel drive system, it is relaxed, easy to drive, and when it gets hairy, it resorts to safe understeer. There is no drift mode, which means there is no way to force the powertrain to shovel more power to the rear wheels. How does it fare against the angrier looking Formentor? In terms of handling, they are very similar, pretty much indistinguishable without driving them back to back, so it comes down to other factors like looks, infotainment, space and price. The Formentor is better looking and less expensive. Tiguan R offers more space, is pricier, but will probably depreciate a bit more gracefully. Which is your pick? If you haven't watched our review of the Formentor yet, head over there and learn about Cupra's rather interesting performance crossover. If you think all this is children's stuff and you'd like something more massive, check out our Touareg review.